Hey everybody, this is Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 19 playthrough of the Phillies. We're 1 month into the season. We're at May 1st, 2030, and I just wanted to give you a look at how we're doing, how the rest of the league's doing, and some of the individual performances we're seeing in the league. First off, how we're doing is really good. I'm got my fingers crossed that we can keep up this pace. We're 14-9, playing above 600. I didn't really expect us to start out that good, and especially after the last episode, that first game of the season was a stinker, really. Lockfeld had a bad pitching performance, but we've come back from that. We're doing really good since then. Few guys we'll look at here in a minute in terms of top performers, but overall in the league, Yankees are off to a hot start. The Royals are off to a surprisingly hot start. I think they may have the best. Nope, Milwaukee has the best record in baseball. And I don't know how we're going to stop Milwaukee in this playthrough right now. They a lot of depth. A lot of players are still doing well for them, pitching and offense. So it's going to be tough to beat them in the National League again this year. Miami, even though we are doing good, that's a tight race right there. You can see 4 teams within 1 game of first place in the East. Only the Mets are really struggling. The Cubs are having a tough start to the year so far. And then a few teams in the American League. Boston has been kind of on a downward swing for a while. Their history, the last, since like 2023, 2022, they haven't made the playoffs since 2021, and they had that might have been the worst record in baseball last year, 56-106 in the 2029 season. But you can see they've had several years where they didn't even top 70 wins, so they're having, this might be the worst stretch in their history. I mean, there are a few, you'd have to go back to the 1920s to see, or 30s, to see a stretch this bad for the Red Sox. But looking at some individual performance here, a lot of familiar names. Justin Bellinger, who was the batter offensive player of the month for the month of April in the American League. He's off to an amazing start. Don't expect him to keep this pace up, but his average is up, way up. On pace for over 80 home runs. So I know he's not going to make that, but I think he may hit 500. He might reach that 500 milestone this year if he keeps up this pace. Right now he's only 29 away, so he'd have to hit 40 on the year. And the only time he hasn't hit 40 plus home runs in a season was when he missed almost half the season in 2026, and then his second year in the league. So he's been Mr. Consistent in terms of that power and production. A few pitchers that are Chris Selway, those are the guys who are having some great starts. They're names that I keep seeing a lot in this playthrough. On the National League side, Kevin Dowdell, who is coming off an injury-plagued year. He's off to a hot start. I think he was the Offensive Player of the Month for the National League, and he deserved it. But a few guys on my team to highlight. Rafael Devers is off to a great start. He's on pace for some great power numbers. He's leading the league in RBIs, and he's batting .326. Another guy, Sean Barge, is off to a great start. I think he's currently got a 16-game hitting streak. He does, but he's off to a real good start. His average is up to .322, which is a little bit uncharacteristic of him in terms of his career. He hasn't finished above 300, but I think he's definitely capable of it. On the pitching side, Tovar is off to a great start, on pace for 26 wins and a lot of strikeouts, career high in strikeouts if that holds true. And let's see, if anybody else. Seth Lonsway, a guy from Milwaukee, I think he may have had a no-hitter this year, or at least a pretty dominant shutout performance. How I'm doing pitching wise, Mike Farr's off to a good start, 3 wins already, which is a 20-win pace. Urrutia has looked good in that 5th spot, but I had to move him up to 4th, and I'll get to some injury problems here in a minute. But well, I'll just get to it right now. One of the biggest things I'm going through is I've lost a couple of guys from my starting rotation, and if you throw in Cantelme from preseason or from spring training, I've lost 3 starters from that rotation. Kevin Gowdy's down another 2 weeks, even though he's off to a pretty poor start. But the big blow is Dave Shrimsher, who got that big $12.5 million arbitration offer in the offseason. He's down for the season, looks like. He's out for 6 months now, so that would put him, unless he just really turns it around and heals quickly, he's going to be gone for the season. He was off to a good start. He just hadn't had a decision yet. So with those 2 guys out, I had to scramble in the rotation to fill it out. And so I tried what I mentioned a little bit last time. I'm putting Alice in the rotation, even though he's been a reliever for me since I've had him. I mean, he's been in the league this is his 6th year. This is his free agent year. He's been the leader in appearances 4 of the previous 6 years he's been in the league. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. But for some reason, he's now rated, my scout rated him as a starter, and OSA rates him as a starter because he's picked up 3 solid pitches and he's got good stamina. And this, I know that on the Out of the Park community forums, I think I had seen a report or someone had posted where they're seeing a lot of relievers become starters, but this actually happened in 18. So he was trending that way before I imported him into this 19 league. So I don't think it's a glitch. I think that's just the way he's developed. Even my scout now thinks he's a solid starter. He can front a team's rotation. I mentioned that last episode. So I decided I would try him out, and I had to call up Moya from AAA, and he's not done too well in the only start that he's had. But Chris Alice, who I turned from a setup guy into the starter, how did he do? Well, his first start, he pitched 8 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts. So I'm thinking my scout's onto something. I'm hoping that's not a blip or just something crazy, but I'm going to keep trying with him. And I know I'm going to have Shrimsher gone for the rest of the year, but I may, when Gowdy comes back, I think I'm going to leave Alice in that rotation for now, and I think that's hopefully going to be a big boost for me going forward. And then offensively, I mentioned Barge and Devers. Those guys are probably having the best year so far. But another guy I'm crossing my fingers about is this rookie first baseman that I've gotten a good feeling from my scout and just his ratings that he's going to be the future first baseman for me. A lot of good power potential, good defender, great eye, which I like. He's on pace to show that. I mean, they're giving him, with the pace he's on now, almost 100 walks for the year. I really need somebody who's strong in on-base percentage, so I like that about him. He's on pace for 42 home runs and 100 RBIs, so he's off to a great start. I hope he can keep it up, but I think he has definitely started off looking like the first baseman that I need. But the rest of the team, Vargas has had an okay start to the year. He's hitting okay, just the production's not there yet. 1 home run, 4 RBIs. But he's 9 stolen bases, gives him a pretty fast-paced, he's on pace for 60+. One thing I have noticed, and this is another thing that I've seen mentioned on the community forums for Out of the Park Baseball Development, I did notice when I imported the team over, it did look like some of these ratings changed in terms of like the star overall ratings. So I'm not sure if that's going to be good or bad, or it may just be cosmetic. Because, for instance, Vargas is a 2.5 star player with a 3 potential. I mean, that, everything being equal, what does that mean? I mean, if a 5 star is the best, does 2.5 out of 2.5, 3, does that put him about average or above average? And then if he's got, plus speed, does that, make him a little bit even a mark or two above average, just factoring that in? I think somebody had mentioned too that in previous versions, they were seeing a lot of high 4, 5 star players, and so maybe with the new scouting system, you might not see as many 4 and 5 star players. And so if that's the case, I'm not really worried about it. I'll just have to I may have to readjust my thinking on the star rankings, because in the past version, for sure in 18, which is really the first time I started paying attention to the stars over the numbers in terms of potential ratings, I really did. It was almost only the 4 and 5 star players who you would see develop a good career. So I'm kind of, I guess, like I said, I'm okay with it if the ratings are adjusted down a little bit, and I just have to rethink how I approach it. When I draft in the draft, for instance, which I haven't done in 19 yet, I may be looking at potential 3 and 4 star players as good fits on the team, because that could mean that they're productive, at least average or maybe above average players in my league for a few years or so. So I'm not too scared off when I look at the 2 and 3 star players. I'm not too scared off by it yet. I'm going to look and see how the season, how the numbers play out for the rest of the year. And I've always kind of looked at it anyway as like a mix. I mean, in the past, like Neidiger, for instance, I've gone with guys who have low potential ratings but have good individual ratings like contact power and all that stuff. And it's a mix, and I like the fact that it's a mix. So I guess I'm rambling a little bit here, but I just, if you're playing out 19 and you do notice a difference in the ratings, you probably just want to give it some time, because I don't think it's necessarily going to be that the guys aren't scouted the same, but you're probably just going to be, like, for instance, Lockfeld in the last version was 3.5 to 4 star pitcher for the most part throughout that last season, and that was OSA and my scout. So now he's a 3 star player, 3 star pitcher. How does he stack up with the rest of the league? I bet he's probably going to be an average or above average pitcher. So we'll see how it goes anyway. I'll get off the subject, but I think these 4 and 5 star players, if they prove to be the exception, I think it might be overall in the long run a better way to handle scouting. So it's something I've definitely noticed a difference in anyway. See how it plays out. But last thing I want to look at before we play a few games here, and I'm just going to sim, even though I really enjoy playing out the games using that new 3D, the new 3D parts and player animation. I'm just going to look at simming a week or two ahead for now. So you see our record. We're doing really good at home, balanced on the road. We haven't had as many extra inning games, but we're 1-2, but 3-2 in 1-run games, which I like. That was something we struggled at a whole lot last year, starting off the season. Offense, we have made a big improvement. I hope this holds out, but we are top 5 in a lot of categories. Runs scored, 4th, first in on-base percentage, and I think Van Hooven, that rookie first baseman, is having a lot to do with that. But we're struggling so far in pitching. Some guys are really, their numbers are just really bad. For instance, Maylock, 7.62 ERA. Kevin Berger, 6.41 ERA. And those guys have had quite a bit of innings for just 1 month. So hopefully that's going to shake out better as we go along. And I think I'm still, yeah, I mean, my pitching coach is still rated at great. So I think I've got the right pitching coach in there. They're just off to a bad start. But let's go ahead and see. We're currently playing Arizona, and the last game against Arizona was Mike Farr pitched a 7 inning shutout, 9 strikeouts, his best game of the year. So, and I've called up Bobby Austin, who's a rookie, got a lot of good potential there to be possibly a closer. He's a rated potential 4.5 star for my scout in OSA. I just want to see his control get a little bit better, and he's off to a good start for me though since I called him up. We'll see if he can keep that going on. But let's sim ahead a little bit and see if we can stay in first place here. Second game against Arizona at home, big win, 6-3. Vargas a good game. Devers another solid game. Looks like he got another home run. 3 RBIs. Ochoa, who's off, he's slipping a little bit. He's now 2.5 stars, so that's probably true. I mean, he is probably about average when you consider his fielding and his contact. But he's still on pace to get close to 30 or more and being platooned a little bit. Urrutia, another strong game, 9 Ks in 6 innings. So that was his second win. He's on pace now for 14 wins, having a good start so far. Any news to look at here? I didn't really cover all of these batters of the month. I did say it was Justin Bellinger in the American League, Dowdell in the National. Molina was the best starter in the American League, which I think is kind of he's a 3-star pitcher, but it's kind of an anomaly in a way because he's never really pitched all that great. He's just off to a great start. And then Tovar, who's off to his best start of his career, he was the pitcher of the month. And then a couple rookies. I was really disappointed that Vandenhoeven didn't get it in the National League. I'm not sure why they picked this guy, to be honest. He only had 50 or so at-bats for the month. But he looks like he is an up-and-coming star in the league. He has a potential 20 contact rating, which I would imagine, gosh, that would be 200-plus hits a year, 350 even batting average. Let me see what he's done for his career. He's really young. He's just 20 years old, but he's hit well above 300 at several stops there in his minor league career. So another game against Arizona, and we lost. So we didn't sweep them, but still a good series. Picked up 2 out of 3. Struggled a little bit. Ochoa may have picked up another home run, his 5th. Arenthal got a home run as pinch hitter, and Alice, the experiment may have hit a bump already. Just 3 innings, 3 runs, but 8 strikeouts. Kane had a terrible game, 2/3 of an inning, 4 earned runs, and Morel's not really performing like I had hoped. I hope he turns it up a little bit as the season goes on. So now we got a big series coming up. We're tied currently with Atlanta for first, and this is going to be a 3-game series against Atlanta at home. A couple of big injuries there. It looks like Steven Jennings, who was a 17-game winner with Arizona a couple years ago, his career's over. It's pretty bad news for him. He was having not a great start, but last couple years he'd been very productive. All right, so here we go. First game against Atlanta. And we started off with a win. Good job. 6-2. Devers another good game. Ailman a good game. He was really cold to start out the year, but now he's back up to his pace. Mast. How many home runs did I have? Barge and Mast and Elman, so 3 home runs. I like to see Barge hitting against lefties too. And this was against Esquivel, who beat us in that first game of the season that we played out. Moya finally pitched a good game to get the win, and looks like he was the hero of the game. 6 innings, just 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. So let's see if we can at least beat another one, 4-2. And looks like that's a big injury we got there in the minors. Steve Hoagland. He's going to be gone for 2 to 3 months. I thought at one point he was rated pretty high, but he's at Clearwater. He was off to a good start for the most part, but struggling to pick up a decision. Let's see how we win this one, 4-2. So we've guaranteed that we're going to win this series. Barge, another good game, 3 for 4. I think his hitting streak, no, it was ended on the first. So let's see if he still has the longest streak. He still has tied for the longest hitting streak. And Vargas had a 13-game hitting streak to start the year off. But 4-2, hero of the game may have been Barge, but Ochoa picked up another home run. Elman picked up a home run. And then Arenthal, who's looked pretty good as a pinch hitter when he's come in for me. He had a big hit. Lockfeld didn't get the decision, but a good game for him, and Coreyline picked up his 7th save, so he's on pace for 42 now. Bullpen had a great outing for once. No runs given up by that bullpen. And then in the news side, I'm still getting these trade offers, and man, it's a good looking pitcher, but I'm going to hold off right now. I'm not when I've tried these in the past, if I offer a one-on-one trade, they won't go with anything I have on my team, but I could probably keep finagling it and maybe work up a trade, but I think I'd have to give away too much for a guy of his caliber. So this is the last game. Let's see if we can sweep it. We don't. 0-6. I forgot about Oviedo. He is currently, I think he's on a rehab assignment. Let me double check. I wasn't aware that I thought I had him. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can get him to AAA. Yeah. His ratings and injury, he's taking a tumble. I'd like to have him on the roster because in the past he's been a good player to have. He's got great leadership skills. He's a good player to have on the team, but right now I just like Arenthal a little bit better in terms of who I picked up. I could replace Riley with him, but we'll see how Riley looks for the rest of the year. So how do we lose this one? Offense really struggled for sure. And Lewis, man, he's off to a bad start. He's hitting, this is the lowest average I've ever seen him hit. Mike Farr got really knocked up. 6 earned runs in 5 innings. Austin, though, had a great outing in relief. He has 18 strikeouts now in 12 2/3 innings, so he's going to be a pretty big power pitcher. Might definitely have a shot at being a closer of the future. And it was a shutout from Clax. He's been a pretty okay pitcher for Atlanta. He had 200 plus strikeouts last year. This kind of guy I wouldn't mind having in my mid rotation because he's got 4 strong pitches. All right, so we just finished the week, and let's see, we're about to play Miami Let's see who the players of the week were. Jim Kaufman in the American League. Looks like he might be a rookie. He's off to a good start. And then in the National League, Ben Hurd. Haven't seen his name come up too much in this playthrough. He's a 3-star. Looks like a second baseman or infielder for St. Louis. And power rankings, we are now 6th. So we're a half game up over Miami, a full game up over Atlanta. And then Justin Bellinger, looking at some of the performances here. Bellinger continues to hit. Mike Pelton's having a good year. He's been in this league for a few years for Toronto. He's a 5-star player, maybe one of the best overall players in the league if he keeps it up. Man, Zach Owenby for Detroit, 57 strikeouts now, on pace for 330. Rafael Devers still leads the league in RBIs. Kevin Dowdell still having a great start. And Tovar now up to 5 wins. So that puts him on pace for 28. Not really seeing any other guys showing up short of the stolen bases on the leaderboards for us. Yankees are still the best team. Kansas City, Texas, they're having a surprisingly good year. San Francisco's looking good in the West. Milwaukee's continued to dominate. And then, hey, you got us. We're still playing above 600, so I had a good week. Went 4-2 that week. But this is going to be a tough one. It looks like a 3-game series against Miami on the road. Let's see if we can win this series. Bad way to start it. But lost 3-4 in overtime, 11 innings. Vargas is still kind of, his average has come down a little bit. He's down to 257 now. Lewis was 2 for 5, not bad. Devers, another good game. Elman, good game. Vandenhoeven, 2 for 4 with an RBI. Urrutia pitched good, 6 innings, 2 runs. Looks like Corylon, though, lost it in extra innings. We got a trade proposal here. This is from the Dodgers. Angels. Oh, no. I'm not going to trade Sean Barge for a 3-star starter. That's not going to happen. I'm going to reject that. And the draft pools are revealed. I'll look at this closer to the draft day. So let's see if we can win the second game, and we do 6-2. But unfortunately, looks like Chris Ollis was injured, and he's been, I don't think he's ever been injured for me in this playthrough. Maybe he was injured in spring training or something, but that's not good. So he's not going to be, well, he's listed as moderate, so he's not going to be able to pitch for a week or so. But we did manage to come back and win the game. Ochoa may have picked up another home run, his 7th, and Arenthal played in place of Devers and had a good game, 2 for 3. So Berger, strong in relief, 4 innings, 1 run to get the win. So now we're going to see if we can win the rubber game and win the series. We don't. 0-2. So now we are a half game behind Atlanta and Miami in the East. Man, this is going to be a tight race. But it looks like I've got a big injury there that just came up. Let me look at my disabled list. Yeah, this guy was a former first-round draft pick. He's got a pretty good outlook, honestly, if he develops these ratings. Potential 13 contact, decent power. But he's going to be gone now for the rest of the year. Looks like 6 months. Torn UCL. to say that really slow. And Hunter Green is injured for Milwaukee. He's probably just, yeah, he's been out for a while, looks like. Okay, so how did we lose this one? Moya pitched a pretty decent game, 7 innings, 2 runs. We just looks like we were dominated by this guy. Picked up his second win. A lot of strikeouts, 11, 2 hits. So now we're going to be playing at Washington, and see if we can salvage something. Although now Washington's playing tough. They're 17 and 14, and we're a game behind Atlanta. So 3 games at Washington. We need to really win this series, and we lose the first one. Kevin Gowdy's ready to come off. He was gone for 3 weeks. I'm going to let him pitch. I'm going to let him pitch at least 1, maybe 2 starts in the minors. My rule is typically if it's anything over 2 weeks, I want to typically, well, I guess it depends on the player and their age and, you know, if they're durable or not. But anything above 2-3 weeks, I like to send them down to the minors for a rehab assignment, because I can't tell you how many times I've just put them in there too soon and they're injured right away. And a big injury from Milwaukee. Dowdell missed 6 weeks. It's the only knock against this guy. He's definitely injury prone. He's injury prone to the point where I don't know if he'll, even though he's had a great career so far, I don't know if he'll be able to play long enough to get the kind of numbers he needs for the Hall of Fame. And a big injury looks like for the Braves. One of their big power hitters is down for another week, day to day. So how do we lose this one? Aylman had a good game, 3 for 4. Lockfeld, not a bad game. 6 innings, just gave up 2 runs. Castro out of the bullpen, looks like he lost it for us, 2 runs in two-thirds of an inning. So Lockfeld is probably not going to get 20 this year. That's one early sign I think I'm going to notice here in this season, which is disappointing. I still think he's a solid pitcher, but he's going to have a hard time, I think, getting mid-teens even for wins this year. So this is a really important game, second game of the series with the Washington. Oh, we lose. We lose pretty badly, actually, 14-16. I think our pitching just said to hell with it. They must have taken a break. Some good offensive performances here. Devers 2 for 5, 4 RBIs. Vargas 3 for 4 in that lead-off spot. Smith had a decent game for one. Sparge a good game. But Mike Farr, another bad outing for him. Finally, Bobby Austin, that rookie reliever, had a bad outing. Kane, who has been up and down, really, the last couple seasons. So I'm going to lose this series. Can't afford to keep losing here. So now we are in 4th place, a game behind Washington. So we need this one to tie them for 3rd. And we do, 7-1. That was a big win. Who were the heroes? Ochoa, good game. Mast, 2 for 3. He's struggling this year. I expected him to play a lot better than that. Vandenhoeven, not a bad game. He's off the pace that he was when I started this episode, but he's a rookie, so he's going to have some ups and downs. And Urrutia, another good outing from him, his 3rd win. He looks strong since he's been up in the majors. I hope that's I hope he's got some growth left, because he does have those 4 pitches, and if he gets that changeup just a little bit better, this guy's going to be a really tough pitcher in the league. So let's take a look at some of the awards that we got to look at here. American League Player of the Week, Edwin Diaz, who's been around. He's 34. He's been a pretty good producer in the league. His average is not that great, but he's 340 home runs for his career. That's pretty good. He's had 40 a couple times there, three times above 40 home runs. And Ledesma in the National League, boy, he's off to a great start. He's hitting 415, 416 potential. Luke Heinlich is out for the year. He was a former pitcher of mine who had a good season for me right here. May not look that good, but he's a lefty starter, and he had a couple of pretty strong years for me there, and he started getting a lot of interest from other teams in the league, and I forget who I traded him for. I traded this guy, Cal Conley, to get him, who wound up having a pretty decent run with Miami back when they were building their team. And he's, let's see, who did I trade Heinlich for? Yep, hey, Corlon. So I think that was a good pickup. Corlon's been with me now. He's going to be a free agent after this year, but I like what he's doing in the pen, especially in that closer role. So power rankings, we've stumbled a little bit. We're at 13th, but as far as the standings go, it's all bunched up there in the East. Atlanta's they're pulling away a little bit now. They're at 618 winning percentage. Milwaukee is still playing really strong. So we had a tough time there in this playthrough. After starting pretty good that first week, we're back down to 4 games over 400. San Francisco's still up in the West, but only a game over Arizona, a game and a half. Some tight races here in the National League. And then Kansas City still leading in the Central, but they're getting caught up by Minnesota. The Yankees still pouring it on, but last year Tampa Bay came out of nowhere and caught the Yankees, so that could happen again this year. And then Texas still playing strong in the West. I can't remember if Texas has had a good run or what kind of run they've had. Yeah, it's been 2022, so it's been 8 years since they were in the playoffs. So they may have, after some lean years there, 73, 68, 78 wins, they might be building a contender there. And then, is Bellinger still in his pace? Yeah, 14 home runs, 69 home run pace. His average is at 299. Yeah, I think, barring injury, he's going to have a great shot at hitting 500 this year, I think. Zach Owenby still doing well in strikeouts. And the National League, Dowdell, that's going to be tough to keep up. Mercury for Atlanta, showing some home run power this year. He's a good overall player. He's a 4-star player, but he's probably their best offensive player right now. And anyone else from our team other than the stolen bases, Devers still leads the league in RBIs. He's on pace for 167, which I don't think he'll get, but he's close to 2,000 hits now for his career and close to 300 home runs. So those are a couple milestones he'll probably get this year. And Kevin Berger leading the second in wins coming out of the pen there. And Plyler looks like he's back leading strikeouts. But, man, he just cannot catch a break when it comes to wins. He's only on pace for 9 wins this year. I wanted to look at one thing before we go, and then I'll probably play out a few more games. I might go up to either the All-Star break or the draft. I don't know if you guys want to see the draft. Where is that? That's in another almost another month. So I might play up to the draft. We'll look at that maybe, or play right up to the end of it. Um, I don't know. I do a lot of deliberations in the draft, and I think it's maybe seeing the first few picks is all right, but I don't know if you want to see the entire draft. Team chemistry, we're happy now. That's good, and no real disruptive players. We don't have a captain though. That'd be nice to have a captain leader class. All right, so that's good news. Everybody looks pretty happy. It looks like. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I think I'm almost up to 20 subscribers now. It's kind of more than I thought I would get. Appreciate any of the comments you're making on the videos. I'm going to keep this playthrough going for a little while, and then I might alternate with another team playthrough. I've been thinking about that. Maybe picking up a once the regular season starts in Major League Baseball, picking up a team there and playing out the season. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I can manage 2 playthroughs at once, but I would really like to pick up a current team and see what I can do with it. And I've got a few ideas, but if you have any ideas for teams I should play from this year, leave it in the comments and I'll consider it. Teams that I've been thinking about, the Reds, Oakland A's, and the Phillies, because I just think, I think they have a great mix of good farm system, pretty good free agent signings with the first baseman from Cleveland. I forget his name right now, and then of course Arrieta. They could be a team that it would be interesting to see if you could build a quick winner and see how long you could sustain it, because I think they've definitely got great prospects right now. But those are the 3 teams I'm leaning on right now. But if you guys have any other suggestions, I'd be open to it. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.